You're listening to Ross and John
on Radio Essex.
I want to talk about Prince Philip crashing that car.
Can we? Ross, we can't talk about that.
That's debatable.
So Prince Philip, 97 years old, crashes a car, doesn't he?
Yeah. I mean, can we talk about this? Next thing you know, that'll be
it's
it.
the news. We can talk. It happened.
Yeah, but
can't,
like,
well,
I don't-
allegedly it happened. I wasn't there.
I don't want you to disappear in the night, do you know what I mean? Don't wake up tomorrow and be like, where's Ross McGrain? I've got to do the radio show. And they'll be like, who's Ross McGrain? And there'll be a replacement you in your house.
Mate, who are you going to get to replace me?
His name will be Joss McCain.
You have to get Ramesh Raghunathan to replace me, I reckon. But I just wanted to talk about it because smash debris from the car are being sold on eBay.
No, you're joking.
Yeah, mate. And,
No way.
and almost collected 66 grand.
That is mad.
The seller, called Morbius777, joked that the 3 plastic parts from the crash may even have Phil's DNA on it if you wanted to clone him. The advert went up by the weekend and received 139 bids from interested buyers eBay took it down.
You can't call him Phil.
Phil, well, I don't know. I think he'd
Prince
sort of...
Philip, isn't it?
He'd wanted to call him Phil, I reckon.
Please call me Phil.
I mean, he's just, yeah. I mean, it's...
He is like your granddad, isn't he?
I'm going to go out and say it. I feel like there should be like another test you have to take when you hit a certain age. I know it's controversial.
Well, I think there is, isn't there?
Is there? Can you just check that for me?
All
'Cause
right, I'll click away. You do some filler.
Okay, right. So, I mean, look, what I'm saying is that, or something along the lines of, this is horrendous labelling, but you know, like when people first pass their test, you can opt to put on that green P on your car.
Yeah.
And that sort of lets other drivers know that you are a new driver. You might not be as confident behind the wheel. Do you not think that, you know, you should just, when you get to a certain age, they should just... Maybe,
Well,
I don't know.
technically-
Practice bang out of order. I love the elderly.
When you must renew your driving licence every 3 years after you turn 70.
Oh, okay.
But, you know, a lot of things change very quickly when you're that age, over the age of 70. You know, like your driving eyes, your eyes can deteriorate really, really quickly. So, I don't know. The thing that always...
But when you say that they have to renew it, does that mean that they have to take their test again, or does that mean they just have to call up and renew it?
I think they just have to call up and renew it.
But that's not the same thing, is it?
Yeah, well, I know. I get it sometimes. When you're driving down the road, you think, you know, the other person coming towards you is like, oh, definitely my right of way. Oh, they've gone. Oh, okay, they're not stopping. Oh, they're going quite quick. This road's quite tight. Oh, breathe in a bit. Here they come. And they go past you and they can't see over the steering wheel. Do you know what I mean? There's a little blue rinse just bobbing, and some bottle-thick glasses just bobbing over the steering wheel.
I don't want to sound like I'm being ageist at all, because I'm not. I'm really not. But I just, you know, I'm just being honest. You know, as you get older, your reactions start slowing down, and you know. And like now I'm out on the road, I do tend to notice, you know, a lot of dodgy things happening with older people behind the wheel. And I'll tell you something else as well. I won't say exactly where it is or which part of the family it is, just in case on the off chance of one of them listening. But someone living down their road I think he was 95, 96, like a year younger than what Prince Philip is. He was parking his car, slipped off the brake onto the accelerator and ploughed it straight into his back garden.
You see, this is the difficult, isn't it? But the flip side of it is, you know, that I've spoken to old people about this in the past, in my family and outside the family, and you know, they're insulted because they have been driving for 30 years. It's like, mate, I know what I'm doing. I've been driving for 30 years. I could literally do it with my eyes closed.
Yeah, I get it, because it's their, you know, it's their independence, and I like to say, I'm not saying take the car away. I'm just saying there should be some kind of assessment, you know. Anyway, let us know what you think at Radio Essex on the Twitter. Richard in Haybridge says he agrees people over 70 should be made to wear O plates as a warning to other road users. I mean, that's a little bit. I don't know whether it should be an O, but perhaps
it definitely should. It stands for oh.
Perhaps instead of an O, it should just be a word that's original, and then we'll all know.
Radio Essex.
It's your only hit music comedy panel show. I say it's your only. I don't know if there's any more.
It's the best, and that's all that's important.
You've not done the pertinent research, have you? That's the
That's the thing. And it's Deaves, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello.
Oh, it's cold out.
It is cold, isn't it? We did leave you out there for a bit longer than necessary, I won't lie. How you doing, mate?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thanks. Thanks for coming down.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So you're a comedian, you're a drummer, you're a grammar freedom fighter.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the sort of personality that I seem to have picked up for myself, but I don't think that's entirely true.
Okay, why not?
Well, it's a weird thing that people sort of seem to have attributed to me. But
Do you think it might have something to do with you correcting their grammar at every available opportunity on social media? Or
do you know what? I had this conversation with Holly the other day, actually, because she tagged me in a thing, and I was like, do you know what? If I corrected everybody the amount of times that I want to correct them, I would be in a lot of trouble.
So, more importantly, though, you are a stand-up comedian and friend of ours as well. How long have you been doing stand-up now?
So 5 years in a couple of months.
5 years. And how would you... I'm going to ask you how you describe your comedy, because I know that how your comedy is described is not how you would necessarily describe it, is it?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I'm the best judge. Because in my personal opinion, it's just my own personality. Like, for a long time, I thought I was just doing straight observational comedy, like, as myself, and then everyone kept asking me where I came up with the character, and I was like, oh.
You were like, ow, right in the feels.
That is who I am as a person, but thank you.
Good. So, what made you decide to start being funny for not a lot of money?
Oh, I had nothing left.
But you're a pretty good drummer, though, right?
Yeah, I do okay, yeah.
You do, so what sort of drumming credits have you got? What's your drum CV?
Well, you see, the thing is with Deaves, right, he's so good a drummer that I've never seen him drum. And you know when somebody's actually good at something, they don't have to show it off.
Yeah,
I think
that's
he's
a
probably
good
quite
point.
tasty with the sticks.
You bear that in mind. That's how good I am.
Whenever drumming's brought up, actually, I do say, my mate Deaves a good drummer,
Yeah.
and I've never heard him drum.
Yeah, that's
You
it.
might just be a really good liar, Deaves.
Who knows? I've got some drums, so it doesn't mean I can play them, does it? You've never seen it.
Well, anyone can play drums. It's just hitting circles with sticks, isn't it?
That's exactly right.
It's funny you should say that, Deaves, because I've actually got a drum kit right here. So what happened then? So you decided you want to be a drummer, and then you thought, do you know what?
I still drum.
Is it because the bit that you love drumming the most is the ba-dum bum tsh, and you thought, how can I get that in my life more often?
That is absolutely not the case.
So yeah, go on. What you wanted to be a drummer first of all?
Yeah. Well, I was doing sort of various bits of session work, which is sort of the avenue that I wanted to go down, and it's a long story. Some things went wrong. I had some issues with some people, and I sort of fell out of love with it a little bit.
Oh, blimey, that was a lot deeper than I was
Yeah,
expecting.
it's darker than we thought early on, wasn't it?
I didn't play drums for about a year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and in that time, I'd moved back home because life was going well. So I'd moved back home, so I didn't have much left, and I wanted to try stand up for a long time, and I thought I'll give it a go, and turns out I really liked it and was pretty good.
Pretty good at it.
That is such a beautiful way of discovering new things, isn't it? It happens a lot to a lot of people, like where you have like a moment in your life where you feel like you're at your lowest.
Yeah, rock bottom.
Yeah, and then you discover something amazing.
It's funny, actually, because that was how I decided to start doing comedy. Obviously, I've been in the...
You gave up on drums.
You're listening to Ross and John.
On Radio Essex.
First of all, are you an animal person, Deaves?
I'm a cat person.
You're a cat person?
Yeah.
Okay.
Controversially.
What about you, John? Are you an animal person?
I don't mind an animal. I don't mind that. It depends on how I'm feeling. So, some people love dogs all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, wow, dog, amazing. And other times I'm like, little
Just indifferent.
little four-legged freeloader. So yeah, sometimes if I'm having a particularly negative day, then I'm not into animals. That sounds mean, doesn't it? That sounds really mean, but it's true.
Yeah, sometimes when I'm angry at life, I just kick a puppy.
Who doesn't?
No, I just, I don't mind animals. I don't mind it. If I see a dog in a place that a dog shouldn't be, like on the tube, it's day made, isn't it? Day
Sitting
made.
there in its little fluorescent jacket.
So, you're a cat person. Have you got a cat? Have you got a pet?
I have, yeah.
You have, and
You haven't got a cat. Nobody has got a cat.
The cat's got you,
Yeah, but you're the cat's pet
Oh, yeah,
as
that's
much
fine.
as it's yours. Okay.
Yeah,
That's why I like cats more than dogs.
Okay.
Dogs are fickle. They love whoever's in the room. Cats, you've got to work for it.
Cats are fickle, though. Cats are fickle. A cat will happily leave you for someone better, like in an instant. They'll just wander down the road.
I
You
found
say
out.
that, but my cat is very loyal. He's also an idiot, which helps. So.
Okay.
Did you say that? Right, I thought my cat was loyal, but I found out just the other day that it's been going in next doors and having little treats and stuff. Had no idea.
Oh, they're so deceptive, aren't they?
Yeah. So, all right, so obviously you love your cat.
Yeah.
Has it
Part
got
of
a
the
name?
family.
Sorry to interrupt you. Has it got a name?
It has got a name, yeah.
What's it called?
Marco.
Great.
Marco.
Yeah.
Polo. Do you ever shout Polo out the window when it comes over?
What was the name? What was the reason for Marco?
I named it after a motorcycle racer who died.
Oh, okay. No, let's not go any further into
What
that.
a show!
I bet he didn't have as lavish a funeral as what this dog did that we're about to talk about. So, all right. So, do you reckon? I mean, when it goes, what are you going to do? What's the plan?
Dig a hole.
Dig a hole, stick it in it.
Yeah.
Mourn it.
That's exactly. Yeah, I mean,
Would you say a few words at the whole side?
I'd probably stroke him.
Oh, that's quite nice.
Sort of like, because I probably won't have dug the hole enough. I'll have to sort of crack his legs in.
Oh my God! Amazing. Oh, amazing! I love that. All right, so look, Captain, the Staffordshire Bull Terrier, was 11 years old when it died on Christmas Day.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
Killer.
Have we not got any sad music for this?
I might be able to sort
Can you
something.
sing something?
Absolutely crying out for a in it.
I'm going to see if I can hook you up.
That'd be,
sad little
yeah,
violin
please
music.
do. If you could just, I don't know, just a little something for the background. It hasn't got to be, yeah, that is
There
exactly
it
what I'm
is.
talking about.
So, Captain, the Staffordshire Bull Terrier, lived a full life, but died on a Christmas Day after suffering a cardiac arrest on the operating. This is too much. Owner Sasha Smajic, 37, said she didn't eat for a week after his death. In total, she spent £4,249 on the funeral, including £225 on a dove release.
Well, on the plus side, she saved a load of money on food that week. So.
Oh, no, don't. I don't, because I can't handle when animals die. I don't mind humans, but not animals.
Yeah, it does make me cry occasionally, the animal death.
£225 on a dove release.
Yeah, like it's very sad, but is it that sad?
Hold on a minute, £220 on a dove release?
Yeah, that's like they're holding the
fully
dove's
expect
ransom.
that I will have £220 spent on my entire funeral.
Yeah. But like a dove release, right, doves like are homing pigeons, aren't they? Like doves are expensive, so if you train doves, you would train them to go back to you. So what happens is that bloke gets his birds, puts them in a cage, goes down to a funeral somewhere, opens the cage, goes home, £220 in his bank.
Basically, yeah.
That's amazing.
He's living the dream.
I'm going to get into dove releases.
You're listening to Ross and John.
On Radio Essex.
Time now for Ask Lexie, which is most people's favourite part of the show.
Yeah.
Only reason I'm here.
This is the part of the show where my 3-year-old daughter, forgot how old she was there for a second, she answers one of your problems. Let's listen to today's.
Ask Lexie.
Time now then for what is probably most people's favourite part of our little show here, isn't it, John?
Yes, I know it's my favourite bit.
Yeah, as if I don't hear the sound of my 3-year-old daughter's voice enough during the day. She is now on our radio show and overshadowing the pair of us, just like she overshadows my birthday every year. She was born 3 days before me, and that's it. My birthdays are finished. 5 days. Don't trust that. Anyway, so yeah, this is the part of the show where my 3-year-old daughter takes on the role of agony aunt. We feel that children are a lot more optimistic than adults, so why not ask them for advice to your most burning questions. Today is Anne from Leon C. Let's see what she has to say.
Ask Lexie.
Hi Lexie, this is Anne from Leon C. Just a quick question. My son never comes round to see me anymore. What can I do to entice him round occasionally? Thanks, bye.
Hello, Anne. Thanks for your question. I think your kid would be more likely to come and see you if you had some games knocking about, like mousetrap, puzzle games, hungry hippos, not things like Monopoly or Trivaluta soup. If you're feeling a bit floss, maybe you could invest on our iPad. I would definitely come and see you. Thanks for your question, Anne. I hope this helps. Bye.
You're listening to Ross and John.
On Radio Essex.
That's debatable.
KFC releases gravy-scented candles, so your home always smells finger-licking good.
Wowee. How do we feel about this?
It sounds like a disease.
What, gravy-scented candle?
Yeah.
Sorry, madam, you've got gravy-scented candle. You haven't got long left.
Yeah, don't. I mean, listen, I love the gravy from KFC. I don't want to smell it all day.
No,
in the
that's
house.
it. You would definitely. I love it, and it's one of my favourite things about KFC. But I do feel sick shortly after I eat it.
Yeah,
I don't want to walk into my house after a long day, sort of, out doing gigs or whatever. You get in late, you go,
Don't scream romance either, does it?
Yeah, I mean, unless you're sat opposite your other half eating a boneless banquet for two with the scented candle on in the background. I mean, that is the height of romance, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, but if you've got the candle on, that suggests that you've got that instead of gravy. So you're just going to smell the gravy and then be sad that you haven't got the gravy.
Maybe it's made of actual gravy. So maybe once you've warmed it up with the wick of the candle, you can dunk your chips in it.
You know what it's made from, right?
What is it?
It's basically like all the
Is this
sort of
allegedly
remains of chicken and stuff.
Okay.
No, it's a real thing. Like,
Okay.
It's all the remains of chicken and stuff that like fall into the rapeseed oil fryers.
Okay.
At the bottom, they drag it all out at the end of like a 5-day
That's
round,
why it is so delicious.
and then they mix it with stock and
magical
water.
pixie dust. And
Yeah.
that is why it tastes so crazy good.
Yeah.
Oh, mate. Yeah. Well, I like it. I'm a
So
fan.
if they don't add the stock and water, then that is probably wax.
You know what has no right to be there? Coleslaw.
Yeah.
Oh, I
How
love the
is that?
coleslaw.
What are you talking about?
yeah, I like the
How is
coleslaw.
that an option? They're like, would you like this delicious tasty corn? Would you like this delicious tasty gravy? Or would you like to burn your retinas with this disgusting
coleslaw's
coleslaw?
lovely. What coleslaw
It's
are
the
you
worst thing in the
eating?
world.
It is vile.
My
Thank you,
food
Deaves.
technology teacher in school, she forced us to make coleslaw once.
Oh.
Right, it's one of those things. But because we made it all and like kind of, mine looked lovely, but she was going, oh yeah, you got to try that. And I was like, I don't like coleslaw, I don't want it. And she was like, but no, you've got to have it. And I was like, oh no, I can't, it'll make me feel sick. And she went, well, no, you've got to try both to taste test them. And then as soon as I put the first bit in my mouth, I immediately started gagging and I looked like I was going to be sick. And she just went, oh no, you don't have to do it. Thanks very much.
Yeah, well, that's why you don't like it. You've had a childhood trauma.
Yeah. Yeah, and then she punched me.
Radio Essex.
Now it's time for one of the cheesiest jingles known to man.
I'm excited.
Inside the comedian's studio.
There it is. Look at that. Do you like that side, Deaves?
I do like that. It sounds like we're sort of
In a lift.
Well, no, it sounds like we're about to start a terrible porno.
It does actually.
It does sound a little suspect. Of course, we're not. We're going to talk about Inside the Actors Studio, which was an amazing TV show from a little while ago. And what we've done is we've taken some of those questions and we sort of jazzed them up a little bit.
They're the same. They're the same.
Jazzed. They're not the same. We've jazzed them. And they're the questions that we're going to ask you. We'll ask you just a few of these questions and then you can answer them as a comedian. So, are you familiar with Inside the Actors Studio, first of all?
Somewhat, yeah. I've sort of half seen a couple of episodes.
Awesome. So I'd just like our listeners to just imagine now that we're all sat round on the floor. I'm wearing a black roll neck. Deaves has got no shoes on and is smoking a cigarette from a cigarette holder. And we're going to ask these questions now. Deaves, welcome along to Inside the Comedian Studio. We want to talk about a few things today. So the first one is, what is your favourite word?
Well, as you know, I'm a big fan of words.
Yeah.
Being somewhat of a grammar pedant and a linguistic freedom fighter.
That's right.
So I've got. It was difficult for me to sort of find a favourite word, and I'm not sure I've exactly nailed it down, but I've come up with a few that I quite like.
Okay.
Punnet.
Oh, punnet is a great word.
A lovely word.
It is a great word. Yeah. Punnet, of course, the thing that they use to keep all your vegetables and fruit in one place in
Punnet
supermarket.
strawberries. It was the first time I ever heard it, and I thought I liked that.
Yeah, that's a good one. That is a good
That
one,
is
actually.
I do like that
Punnet.
one, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know how to spell it? Punnet, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
Yeah. I was just checking it wasn't an I, because sometimes they sneak an I in somewhere like that, don't they? Anyway,
Yeah, where would you put an eye? Okay. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I'll put the I where I like, thank you. Anyway, question number 2. Do you have a least favourite word?
Well, there's again, I've had a couple of options with this and things that sort of annoy me, because there's certain words that I hear and they do drive me mental. But what I particularly hate is when people use the word acronym when what they mean is initialism.
Go on.
That is very much on my...
Could you, just for those idiots out there who don't know what the difference is, I don't know what the difference is. Don't know what the difference is. Could you just Tell all those.
Well, this is one of those scenarios. All acronyms are initialisms, but not all initialisms are acronyms.
Obviously.
So an initialism, for instance, IBM, right? An acronym, NASA. Because they're both made up of initials, but an acronym is something that makes up a word that you can pronounce.
Thrilling. Question 3. No, that's very interesting.
Sorry.
Thank you. What turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally? Is there something that someone can do or that happens that makes you go, yeah, like gets you excited?
I just enjoy, people being creative makes me creative.
How do you feel about art? Do you like look at a picture and go, yeah, that does it for me?
No, do you know what?
Like
I wish I
pictures
did.
and stuff doesn't turn me on at all.
I'll look at it depends, but I'll look at some bits of art and think, oh yeah, that's incredible. That's an incredible painting. Like I can see what they've done there, and maybe it might inspire me. I might want to do some art myself. But then the problem is, I'll do art and I'm not very good at art.
You're like, yeah, that's not for me.
Yeah.
I sort of view art like if I can do it, it's not art. So when people like just have a bed that's a messy bed that's some sort of installation piece.
Yeah.
That's not art in my opinion. But anyway, what do I know? Okay, question number 4. What turns you off?
Dirty feet.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you're not a barefoot wanderer?
Oh,
Not even when you go on holiday?
No, not for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I love a bit of barefoot action.
Like a lot of people, they'd think that I would, I'd actually hate bad grammar.
Okay.
But that inspires me to be creative because I need to find polite ways to tell them they're idiots.
Yeah, I mean, you've run out of the polite ways, in my experience, and you just tell people the bluntest way possible, which I also thoroughly enjoy.
Honesty is the best policy, as they say.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
But yeah, dirty feet. So what you mean if you see someone with dirty feet, you just think, oh.
Yeah, because I like sort of hygiene in general. I like things being clean. And for me, feet are, because a lot of people would disagree, but feet are, because, they're protected by socks, but I still think that they're probably the sweatiest, dirtiest bit of your body.
Go on.
And then as soon as you get them out and start walking on sort of dirt, and then someone puts them in front of you, I will want to set them on fire.
Well, we legally have to tell you shouldn't set anybody's feet on fire. Okay, so let's move on. Let's move on. That's all right. That's fine. The question number 5 is one of my favourites, but it is, what is your favourite curse word? However, of course, we are on the radio, so you can't actually use your favourite. You can't actually use your favourite curse word. So what you have to do is try and explain to us your favourite curse word without actually using said word. So, for example, if you were to say fudge, we would assume you meant a particular word. So, Deaves, could you tell us your favourite curse word without using said word?
Well, what I'm going to do is something slightly different because sort of, alongside comedy, I also teach drums to children.
Yes.
And often they'll do things wrong to the extent that, I may have spent 20 minutes already telling them, no, don't hit that thing, and they'll keep doing it, and I immediately find myself going, and I just sort of come up with a random selection of words. One of my favourite was grimy graveyards.
Grimy
graveyards.
Oh, that is delicious. Grimy graveyards. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that is a very good one. Have you used it since, or was it one expletive you used once?
It's all natural.
It was a one-time use. I like it. Grimy graveyard is a good choice. All right, we'll do a couple more, and then I'll let you have some time. So, do you have a sound or a noise that you love?
Onions being fried.
Oh, that's a good choice. Sizzly. Oh, and it conjures up some beautiful smells.
Because it's a subtle sizzle as well.
What do you mean a subtle sizzle?
Like, if you throw a steak in a pan, that's an aggressive sizzle.
Oh, that's an aggressive sizzle. That's an S, very much an S. But I would suppose an onion is more of a Z, isn't it? More of a...
It's got a little C in there.
Oh.
What is this nonsense?
Amazing. Okay, and finally, let's have, before we move on, let's have a noise that you hate.
Well, I have come to realise recently that I think I have misophonia. Do you know what that is?
Oh, is that when you don't like this noise?
oh, yes, that's the thing.
Delightful.
Yeah, it's sort of it's various noises like that. And
Yeah.
but it's just an irrational hatred of sort of various noises.
Have you seen any of the ASMR videos online?
No, I try to avoid them because some of those involve those noises.
Yeah, they are just, watching people. It's like listening to a dog eat peanut butter. It's just like,
Oh, God.
horrendous.
Yeah.
Gig reflex.
So, Deaves, you are a stand-up comedian extraordinaire.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, let's say that.
And that means I can ask you some of my favourite questions that we get to ask people that come on the
Yeah.
show. So we have a lot of guests on the show. We're very lucky that some lovely people come and visit us. But my fun thing to ask is, do you have a favourite gig and a least favourite gig? So your best gig ever and your worst gig
I
ever.
certainly do. Like, I've had, obviously, obviously, I've had some good gigs. But there's one in particular that sort of it really springs to mind. Actually, do you know what? There's two in particular. So one of them was just a lovely gig. It's one of those where I think the room had like 120 people in,
Nice.
so it's like a nice amount of people, and every single thing that I did or said got like rapturous laughter
It's
and applause.
insane,
And
isn't it?
Amazing.
I love it when that sort of thing happens.
And I ran back to the green room after, not ran, but like I went back to the green room after my set, and like the opening act was in the toilet, the MC's on stage, the other middle act had left, and the headliner was outside running through his line. So I just ran into the room and just started jumping about.
There was no one else in there to tell that you had a great one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, amazing. But the weird thing is, with comedy, obviously, we practice these lines and we say these lines over and over again. And you could have delivered exactly the same set, to a different group of people and they wouldn't have loved it. But it's just
Absolutely,
amazing. So
yeah.
it's great when that happens. Okay, so that's your best gig.
Well, the other
have you got
one
another one? Go for it.
was actually one of Ross's gigs at a Little Smash at the Alex.
Great.
And it's the first time I ever did a preview of my first show.
I remember I was there.
Yeah, there was like sort of 70, 80 people in there, and they were all there to see me, and I just had a gig of my life.
Oh, it was great.
absolutely amazing.
I remember it was very
electric.
good,
Yeah, well,
yeah.
obviously you were there as the clown.
I certainly was.
Yeah.
Always. Great. So that is your best gig. Amazing. Good to hear the good stuff. But what we all want to hear is the bad stuff. So
Yeah.
can you tell us about your worst gig or least
Well,
favourite gig?
there were two really, because there was one that was it's just my first death. It's my
Okay.
26th gig. It was my first time doing 10 minutes, and it was a quote unquote wine bar in Grays, but it wasn't a wine bar. It was a horrible little sports bar, and we turned the football off so that a bunch of geezers could watch us watch me do my first 10-minute spot. And then the following day, another comedian that was also on sent me a message and said, "Sometimes it's not always the audience. Sometimes it's you."
Oh, no, you're
It was
joking.
brutal, and I genuinely nearly gave up comedy after that gig.
Oh, wow.
But here we are, 5 years on.
Oh, that is an absolutely beautiful story.
Yeah.
Have you played the gig since, or has the gig there since
No,
folded?
that has ceased to exist.
Oh,
which is great.
absolutely beautiful.
However,
Yeah.
the worst gig story of recent times that I will tell you
Go
was a
for it.
gig that didn't even happen.
Oh, no.
So it was at the Newcastle Stand, which is one of the loveliest gigs in the country. Like, it's absolutely incredible. And I was doing it off the back of the Edinburgh and Glasgow stands. So I come down to do Newcastle Stand. Like, it'd been booked in advance for months. And they knew that the World Cup was happening.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, they decided to go ahead with a gig and didn't tell me that they were cancelling it until about half an hour after I got there.
Oh, no way. So you
So
turned
they
up and
cancelled it.
everything.
Yeah. And it was the night that we were playing, right? And I thought, do you know what? Because it was that night that Ross had booked that table at the Alex, right? And everyone went down there. They're all sitting around watching football, and I was like, "Oh, I'm doing a gig," but lovely gig. So it's fine. It didn't happen. But I thought at least, because they were showing the football on a big screen downstairs, I thought the very least I can do is watch the football and enjoy myself. And then we lost.
Oh, no. Oh, that is absolutely horrendous. But thank you so much for sharing it with us. We really, really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much for coming inside, Deaves. It's almost time for us to go now. But before we do, could you please re-plug yourself? Tell us what you're doing, what you're coming up next, and how people can find you, find out all about you.
Absolutely. So, like I said earlier, my Twitter handle is @Deaves. That is also my Instagram handle, which I post slightly more often on, I think. Certainly funnier stuff. And my Facebook page is just search for Deaves, and then you'll find my personal page, and then my my comedian page. But,
Lovely.
The URL is for that. It's just facebook.com/Deaves comedy. But you can also find all of my gig list at www.sideeves.com.
Amazing. Thank you very much for coming in. Thanks for being our guest this evening. We really appreciate it.
Hits and Giggles with Ross and John.
On Radio Essex.